academically on most every class he attended. I might mention that he was co-valedictorian on our graduating year with Bob Jacoby, who won a lot of also in our he went to USC on full scholarship all 4 years, graduated summa cum laude. Then went to Officer Candidate School back east and immediately was assigned to Vietnam. If any of you are watching Ken Burns' special on the Vietnam War, like episode 3 and episode 4, the unit that he was with is mentioned, and it's pretty, it's 173rd Airborne Brigade. When he finished that, he went to Yale Law School and had some prestigious, I would guess, also classmates. Bill Clinton, Hillary Rodham, Supreme Court Justice, Roberts. So after graduating there with honors from the law school, and he was the executive editor of the Law Journal, he went to a very prestigious firm in New York City. I think it was one of the top 5 from every attorney I've talked to. Kravitz, Swain, and Moore. And he was assigned to their Paris office for 3 years. Just the worst assignment you could ever have. And worked there in different legal capacities and acquired a nice affection for French food. Came back to the States, and then he had married his kind of college sweetheart after he got back from Vietnam. Her name was Pat Armstrong, and PJ was her nickname. And they had kind of an agreement that they would alternate whose job was most important. It was the next one. So they would go back and forth with assignments. And she went to work for International Paper in Chicago, so he went with her to Chicago, and he worked at Valparaiso Law School on staff there for a couple of years while she was working in Chicago. She got reassigned to Memphis, Tennessee, and that's the headquarters of that International Paper. And he then went to Memphis, and at that time, it had just transitioned from the part of the region system in Tennessee, which is record. So, but it went from Memphis State University to the University of Memphis. So their law school, being only maybe a couple of decades old, he was named full professor there in 1980 and taught tort, contract, and other types of law. But in 2004, he was named dean of the law school, and he then proceeded to help them get a brand new, well, not a brand new, a more prestigious and good home for their law school, which was in kind of the state. And he negotiated with the state and the federal to take over the old federal courthouse that's on the river. It's extremely impressive. If you care to go to the University of Memphis Law School and take a video tour, you will be very impressed. Regrettably, in around 2005, PJ came down with cancer, and he lost her in around late 2007. But he continued to press for this beautiful building and got that done. And I'm trying to figure the proper word, but he wanted to go back to teaching instead of being the dean after he accomplished the building project. 2008, he went back to teaching. But he was the Dean Emeritus and then passed away in 2011. One little thing that, side note, it wasn't all academics and work and everything else. He did have a really good sense of humor. Here on this very stage, we had, over the years, several people that became actors and bit parts and whatever else. But he had the occasion to be in a movie called Rainmaker by John Grissom. And it was basically written about, Grissom would send out, if he decided on a theme or a topic, he'd send out investigators to find out the local culture and personalities and things that relate back to the movie. And they had come up with this lawyer named Professor Slew, and thought nothing of it because he was supposedly retired. And wasn't the case, so they wanted to start making the movie, and it was about an attorney in Memphis. And the start of the movie has the law professor, Professor Slew, taking 4 of his legal students to an old folks home, and they give advice to the elderly. And one of the 4 law students is Matt Damon. And if you read the movie, it goes on and on, but he was in the movie, and of course you end up with, on the deleted scenes. If you rent the movie, try and get the collector's edition when it has the deleted scenes, and you will see Jim in pieces. So he led a really interesting life. Regrettably, they didn't have kids. Not much of a family, because folks are gone. But I know that Jim is very deserving of this award, and he would be very happy to accept it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Rick, for representing this very worthy recipient. At this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Linda Davis-Applegarth to come forward. Several of our previous inductees in our Hall of Fame have distinguished themselves in the fields of medical research and innovation. Like those others, Linda has created an incredible body of work and has contributed immensely to her areas of interest. Since 1987, Linda has been on staff at the Weill Medical College of Cornell University, rising over the years to the, and I don't know if I got this right or not, Linda, to the position of Clinical Associate Professor of Psychology and Obstetrics and Gynecology and Reproductive Medicine. I'd rather just say, well, I'm a fireman. She holds undergraduate and graduate degrees from the University of Kansas and Boston University. Linda is a renowned researcher and prolific writer in the fields of OB, GYN, psychology, psychiatry, reproductive medicine, and infertility issues. She has received many awards and recognitions over the years, including a national award in 2007 from Resolve, the National Infertility Association, and now we add her name to the Topeka West Graduate Hall of Fame, nominated by her friend Roger Underwood.
Wow, I'm not sure I even know that person that was just introduced. Very impressive. At the risk of sounding very, very trite, I have to tell you that I'm incredibly honored and humbled today, and I certainly was when I learned that I was selected for this award. My thanks to the Alumni Association and to the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, and to all of my fellow classmates of the class of '65. especially Roger Underwood, the brilliant and tireless Roger Underwood, our class president. And I suspect that we may be seeing a few other class of 65 folks on this roster, on the Hall of Fame roster in the future. And I certainly want to congratulate my very much deserving fellow inductees and staff honorees as well. I will tell you one tiny little anecdote, and that is, Scott, I babysat you. I was called upon by Dr. Owen Henson. He is famous for many things, but in my heart, I was also hired as a babysitter, and it was a job I would never consider refusing. Anyway, I'm glad to see that you've grown up to be such an upstanding citizen. As you know, most of us seldom look back upon our high school years as our golden era. And the only, well, not only, there were many good things, but one certainly good thing was that we were gloriously young. But a lot of times, there was way too much self-consciousness and emotional angst. And the good news for us, for the class of 65, was that we didn't even have to worry about social media. So in that sense, I guess we had it pretty good. But, and I certainly had that experience too, some of that adolescent angst and so on. But I can also say, without equivocation, that my arrival at Topeka West as a junior was really life-changing. Get a little sentimental. It not only did I make lifelong friends, many of whom are here today, but I also gained a true appreciation of the beauty of academics and the excitement of academics. We had incredible classes, wonderful teachers, and a fantastic administrative staff, Mr. Hula, Dr. Henson. We were really lucky, and it really impacted, I think, my life in a very positive way, because it really propelled me into wanting to succeed in college and on into graduate school, and that's where I studied counseling psychology. While working as a psychotherapist in Washington, D.C. At an outpatient psychiatric practice, my personal experience became a passion for me professionally. My husband, Paul, who's here with me today, and I suffered from infertility, and we were unable to have a second child. It was during these very stressful fertility treatments that I realized that there were few or no psychological support services available to help people who suffer from this form of stress. The sorrow and the loss of infertility, that's part of infertility, miscarriage and stillbirth, are sometimes incredibly difficult to describe, but they are life-changing for those of us who have experienced that as well. And it became my goal to educate the medical community, both through teaching and research, about the psychological component of infertility. And I'm certainly grateful that while Medical College
have you all here today for our celebration. My name is Margaret LaRue, and I am a 1984 graduate of Topeka West High School, and I'm thrilled to welcome you on behalf of the Topeka West Alumni Association and the Westside Pride Foundation. Now there may be some of you out there who just cocked their head and thought, did I know that? Did I know there was an alumni association? Did I know there was a foundation? Well, if you didn't, you should, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about us. The Alumni Association was created about 3 years ago when a group from one of our early classes was having their 50th reunion and thought, you know, we really need to work to preserve the history of Topeka West and ensure that Dr. Henson's vision for the school and the campus is remembered throughout the generations. And so they came together to really nurture and build that relationship between alumni and the student body. The Westside Pride Foundation That discussion came early in the school year of 2015 in the fall, as Booster Club parents and alumni and administration sat down and recognized that, the school looks different than it did 50 years ago, 30 years ago. The demographics have changed, and we really need to start thinking about supporting our school in a different way. And so we went out and we talked with the community members and said, what do you feel like needs to happen? And there was a true sense that maybe their Topeka West had been lost a little bit, had been forgotten. It was interesting, when I began high school in the early 80s, I was thrilled to attend Topeka West. There was no doubt that Topeka West High School was the best school in the county. People were dying to come to Topeka West, and I got to attend. Yes, absolutely. Because I lived in the attendance district. I lucked out. It was simply based on where I lived. Fast forward, as my girls were looking to go to high school in Shawnee County, and they could attend any high school that they chose to attend. It didn't make any difference where they lived, they could choose. And if you look at it, it was interesting to know that the trend was to attend maybe a historic building, or one with fantastic facilities, or really great football team who won, or soccer team that won, or maybe just where kids looked a lot like me. I was thrilled when my youngest chose to attend Topeka West High School, because that was my reintroduction to the high school. And those alumni and community members that the Booster Club spoke with decided that yes, now was the time to re-engage, that it was important to connect with our high school and to support the school in a different way. Make sure that kids had a vision for themselves outside of high school. I'm thrilled to be celebrating our honorees today for all of their achievements and their positive impact in our community. As we connect with our Alumni Association and we preserve the past, we promote the present, we advocate for the future of Topeka West, we know that your participation and your involvement is important. Your participation sets a tone for the school and for the student body. It translates into higher expectations for students and their surroundings, and ultimately makes a more positive environment for all of us. So we hope that you will join us and our founding members of our foundation, who have to date raised a little over $150,000 for the school. $100,000. Those founders have been truly generous and blessed us with an endowment at the Topeka Community Foundation of a little over $100,000. So we say thank you to them, and we hope that you will become involved. If you're interested in knowing more about the Alumni Association or the Westside Pride Foundation, there's information out in the lobby, as well as an opportunity to give some contact information so we can follow up with you in the future. But again, congratulations to our honorees. We're thrilled to have you here today, and welcome home.
Welcome to the 7th Annual Topeka West High School Graduate Hall of Fame and Distinguished Staff Recognition Ceremony. As a part of this year's program, we will also be dedicating the Dr. Owen M. Henson campus at Topeka West High School. I'm former principal and 1969 graduate of Topeka West, Steve Roberts. And whenever I get a chance, I like to brag that I'm the only graduate to return and be principal so far. And In 1969, if you'd have taken bets who that person would have been, you could have made some real money betting on me. At this time, I'd like to ask you to please stand as the West Singers perform our national anthem and school song in the direction of Joshua East. Kids get up, get all dressed up like that to come do 2 songs in the middle of their Sunday. Pretty good kids. is fortunate to have a dynamic young principal at the helm of the school. Dustin Dick is a leader among district administrators and has been recognized as an outstanding leader under 40 in our community. I've asked him to welcome you to West today to share some current information about the state of the school, and then to dedicate the campus by presenting the Henson plaque to the Henson family, represented by Dr. Henson's son, Scott. My friend, Principal Dustin Dick.
Good afternoon. Before I start, I'd like to just take a second to recognize Dr. Tiffany Anderson, our superintendent, in the audience today. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I'm Dustin Dick, and I have the privilege of serving as the 10th principal of Topeka West High School. And it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to the 2017 Distinguished Graduate Hall of Fame induction and the campus dedication. For those of you being inducted today, I would like to welcome you back home. It's great to have you, along with your family and friends, at Topeka West as we celebrate your accomplishments. Each year, as I look over the biographies of the inductees, it's very impressive to see the caliber of individuals and the contributions made by graduates of Topeka West High School. I would like to thank Mr. Steve Roberts and the Topeka West Alumni Association as part of the Westside Pride Foundation for organizing this event. Over the past few years, as we've welcomed alumni back to this event, I've taken the opportunity to share a few things that have been happening at Topeka West and give you an update on how we're doing as a school. While there are many things that have probably changed since you attended school here, the dedication of the staff and the pursuit of academic excellence has not diminished. In the time that I've been at Topeka West, we've seen a 200 student increase in enrollment from our projected enrollment 4 years ago. We've tripled our enrollment in AP, honors, and pre-AP courses in our freshman and sophomore classes. We've increased our teaching staff. We've increased our enrollment and offerings and staff with credentials to teach concurrent credit college courses with Washburn University, with enrollment this semester at an all-time high, which is triple what it was when I started at Topeka West 4 years ago. We offer 17 different courses that can be taken for college credit, and students can earn up to 47 hours of college credit prior to leaving high school. We've developed partnerships with businesses in our community to open our own student-run bank and our own student-run coffee shop. We continue to have the best fine arts programs in the city of Topeka, as was demonstrated a few minutes ago. Last school year, we saw tremendous growth in many areas, and I want to share a little bit of that with you. We had 2 National Merit Scholars and 1 National Merit Commended Scholar. We had an attendance rate near 95% for the school year. 97% of all grades earned at Topeka West last year were passing grades. And we had some people in the community ask, did you diminish your standards in order for that to happen? And the staff would emphatically tell you that we did not. In fact, we saw an 11% increase in math scores on the state assessment over the previous years. We saw a 14% increase in English scores on state assessments over the previous year. And when graduation rates are finalized later this month, our 5-year graduation rate and our 4-year will be at all-time highs for Topeka West High School, with our 5-year rate being just over 91% and our 4-year rate very close to 94%. And as part of that, we also achieved a 100% graduation rate with our African American male population. All of this with a student population that's 56% free and reduced lunch. There are many, many great things that still continue to happen at Topeka West every day. The administration and staff are dedicated to the success of all students. We're working hard to make sure that Topeka West is the high school of choice and the best high school in Topeka and Shawnee County every day. So I can't help but share a little of the good things that happen here every day, every time I get the opportunity to. So that's kind of become tradition here each year that you get to hear that from me. Again, we'd like to thank all of you for coming today, welcome you all back, and if I could now get Scott Henson to come down, we will do the dedication of the campus. Dedicated on October 8, 2017, the Dr. Owen M. Henson campus at Topeka West High School honors the memory of the first principal at Topeka West. Foremost among founders of Topeka West, Dr. Henson was named principal a year before the school opened in 1961. He was an innovator and a visionary that guided all decisions, both large and small, involved in the creation of the school. In an effort to combine the efficiency and other advantages of a larger school with the feel of a smaller setting, his school within a school concept was implemented. A system of smaller school-like divisions shaped the characteristic campus feel and multi-building design. Dr. Henson was always supportive of his staff and was considered a mentor by numerous of them who went on to positions in leadership and education across this district and others. His empathy towards kids was legendary and placed him ahead of his time. He was principal at Topeka West until 1974, and he called those years the most rewarding of his long, successful career in education. He was truly the first Charger, and the Owen M. Henson campus at Topeka West High School is named in his honor.
Hi folks, as Dustin said, my name is Scott Henson, and this is a great tribute to my dad. Of the 37 years that Dad spent with Topeka Public Schools, he often said that the 14 he spent here were the ones he was proudest of. And I am of the class of 1973, so he stayed one more year past when I graduated to make sure I was heading the right direction. Here with me today is my mom, Shirley Henson, and my wife, Linda. Also, they were here at first, my son Jimmy and his wife Katie and my 2-year-old granddaughter Johnny. Johnny got a little active, and so I think they stepped out a little bit. We were glad that they were able to come as well. My friend Jay Wilson is also here. We were down at the Jazz Fest last night in Topeka, one Topeka event. And Jay said, "Is your mom going to get to go?" I said, "Well, of course. We're going to go pick her up and go to lunch at our favorite place in Perkins, even though it's not Monday when they have free pie." And Jay said, "You know, it's true what they say. Behind every good man or every great man is a good woman." And that certainly is the case for my mom, who provided much support for my dad and my family, and certainly for the opening of Topeka West High School. So if we could just give my mom one minute. Thanks a lot. One thing that I think set Topeka West apart, or at least it did in my mind, and in a lot of folks I talked to, is Dad assembled a staff to start that was an amazing group of folks. And some of those folks are here today. And there was someone here at Topeka West for every single student that attended. I can remember Dad drawing a diagram. Some of you may recall that diagram we used to draw. And around the exterior was staff, and parents and community, but in the center circle was students. And that was the emphasis always for Dad, what was going to be best for students. I think my friend Riley, who is in Texas now, but also attended here at Topeka West, put it best, and he sent this to me yesterday. He said, the respect and trust placed on students helped us mature as we rose to what was expected of us. Much of that was a direct result of your dad's vision and leadership. I think he said that well. I want to thank Dustin and Steve and all those responsible for this wonderful tribute to Dad's legacy here at Topeka West High School. I was 6 years old when Topeka West opened in '61. So I sort of grew up with Topeka West along the way. 56 years later, I would not have expected to be standing here on the Dr. Owen M. Henson campus. So thank you all very much, and I know Dad would smile greatly and be humble about it, as he always was, but thank you all very much.
You know, the urban legend, and Scott, don't correct me if I get this wrong, Dr. Henson lived, I believe, on Oakley Street, and the boundary for West and High went down the middle, and he was on the wrong side. And being who he was, they gerrymandered the district down some creek behind the house and back out to Oakley Street so that his house would be in the Topeka West District and his kids could go there. May not be true, but that's the urban legend. Okay, at this point in time, we have two sharp kids come in to speak with us. Summer Taylor is the senior class vice president this year, and Carlos Chavez is the student council executive president, and they've agreed to say a couple of words for us today.
Hello, thank you. Today's ceremony marks the end of the 2017 homecoming festivities. It is an honor to stand before so many amazing and accomplished people, and I want to thank the administration, Mr. Roberts and Mr. Dick, for giving us the opportunity to do so. For the Topeka West student body and the Charter family, congratulations, and welcome back, Hall of Fame inductees. You make us proud to be Chargers, and at this time, I will introduce Senior Vice President Summer Taylor. But before I go, I just want to say Topeka West has been so great to me. I've been through a private school up until freshman year, and the connections I've made and the family that West has had from my older siblings, it's just been a great experience, and I will forever cherish that. So thank you.
Hello everyone. So since being at Topeka West, our campus has gone through a couple of changes since you guys have been here, as mentioned earlier. One big one being that Carlos and I's sophomore year, we were fortunate enough to get Chromebooks instead of doing everything through paper and pencil. Also, if you've been around on campus, you probably noticed that we have street signs around every corner, and these street signs act as both a freshman navigation system and a reminder of the characteristics that we like to carry in and out of the classroom here at Topeka West. On Friday, we had our annual homecoming game against the Highland Park Scots, and we won with a score of 43-26, which is the first homecoming game we've won since 2004. So that was exciting. And we crowned our king and queen, Colin Warner and Malia Mag. Lastly, our announcements are no longer done through the intercom system, but they're done through a YouTube channel, Topeka West TV, that we have, which has been highly successful, where the students and parents can view the announcements daily through Facebook or YouTube. So thank you everyone for having both of us and for just being examples of the greatness that continues to thrive here at Topeka West. Thank you.
want you to be aware that you will both be eligible for induction into the Topeka West High School Graduate Hall of Fame in 2043. I will be happy to MC that ceremony. Well, the kids you've seen today, the talent pool here is what makes coming to work so much fun every day at Topeka West. Great kids. Today, now we're going to swing into the presentation of the O&M Henson Distinguished Staff Awards for 2017. Dr. Henson was with us for the first 3 years of this recognition, and he was the first recipient of the award that now bears his name. As was mentioned during the campus dedication, he was truly the first charger. Until his passing, upon his passing, he was eulogized in memorial service in this auditorium. He's richly deserving of the honor bestowed on his memory today. This year, the selection committee chose 2 former staff members to receive the O&M Henson Distinguished Staff Award. Between them, they have over 70 years of service to Topeka West High School. Both were outstanding teachers and award-winning coaches. One finished up as a dedicated counselor. Both are members of the Topeka West Sports Hall of Fame as well. Susan Affolter and Earl Williams are here today because their careers were impactful on thousands of kids and made Topeka West a better place. Dedication is not a word that can be overused in any discussion of Susan and Earl. It is a quality that they have in common with previous Henson Award winners, and it is what puts them on this plaque behind me with all of those others. The first of these Charger legends that we will recognize is Susan Affolter. Susan, would you come forward, please? Susan has always been kind of a special friend for me because we share the same September 12th birthday, although I'm way older, as you can tell. Okay, I'm going to read Susan's, I call it a bio blurb here. Susan Affolter, 1976 to 2014. PE Health, West Sider Director, Dance Team, and Counselor. Susan began her long career at Topeka West as a legacy staff member. Her father, Wiley Alberg, was an original staff member and the first men's basketball coach. As a PE health teacher, Susan was an innovator and a leader in the development of curriculum and methods in her field. She directed the renowned West Sider Dance Team for many years. As a result, the group received numerous awards and were recognized as one of the nation's outstanding high school dance teams. Susan received a Master's of Education in Counseling and spent the last several years of her career at West working in the counseling department. As in her earlier pursuits, she was known as a tireless advocate for Chargers and their families. Her tenure was impactful and made Topeka West a better place. Susan was also a member of the Topeka West Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Steve. I want to start by saying, Scott, you and your sister had an amazing father, and Shirley, you had a wonderful, wonderful husband. I'm going to reference this in a couple of minutes, but Scott, when you said you were 6 years old when school opened, I was 8. And so I know that we had many of the same memories, and our family spent a lot of wonderful times together. Thanks to Steve Roberts and the Academic Hall of Fame committee members. Also thanks to Megan Murphy-Lindquist who put our reception together, because these things do not magically happen. We know that there are people behind the scenes that are making it happen, and that certainly doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you, Megan, thank you. Also thank you to all of my family members who are here today. They're seated over here to my right, and to my friends who are here in the audience. Thank you. It means the world to me that you are here. Since learning I was to be inducted into the Topeka West Academic Hall of Fame, I've been ruminating on the many meaningful relationships I've been privileged to be a part of during my tenure at Topeka West. During my contemplations, it became quickly apparent that 38 years filled with wonderful memories would not be easily summarized. Yet one underlying theme stood out. As cliche as it may sound, that theme would be team. Beginning in 1976, co-workers like Cindy Boyles, Jerry Wright, Frank Walton, Ron Stahl, John Ostrich, Audrey Roberts, Betty Carroll, and I team taught classes of more than 60 students in our newly created Concepts of Physical Education class. And I'm thinking that, John, weren't you a part of that class at one point in time? And I'm sure that it was that Concepts of Physical Education class that made you the man you are today. Together, we wrote curriculum, shared office and gym space, and taught the classes as a team. There was no bickering, no complaining, and no lone eagles. We worked hard, but we had a lot of fun along the way. When I helped coach gymnastics, volleyball, and track and field during my 8 years, collaborating with other coaches, well, during my first 8 years, and that's when I helped coach, collaborating with others was key to our student athletes experiencing the thrill of victory instead of too much agony of defeat. And as director of the Westsiders dance team was working hand in hand with my student leaders, forming the core of what we did and how we did it. Decisions made as a team affected positive outcomes for the team. Now at this point, I would like to share with you what Google's word origin, how they define team. It says, and I quote, "A set of draft animals yoked together to complete a task." Add to that, many days here at school and working with teenagers, I would just add, giddy up. More recently, and after I segued from the gym to the counseling department, Principal Mick Lowe teamed social worker Amy Esquivel and me, then tasked us with the creation and implementation of a comprehensive peer mentoring program for all 300 incoming freshmen. Good grief. We looked at Mick and said, good grief again. You've got to be kidding. And Mick said, do I look like I'm kidding? He gave Amy and me a few encouraging words, then told us to pack our bags and sent us off to New Jersey to get trained on how to lead a peer mentoring program. Yes, New Jersey, that's where we went. There were fancier places we could have gone, but our calendars didn't match with any of those, so we went to the Garden State. We went to New Jersey. It was teaming with Amy, Mick, 16 Charger Time teachers, and 60 student mentors that launched our new Topeka West mentor team from Mick's vision to a program that is currently enjoying its 12th year. My reflections on team would not be complete without mentioning my sisters in the counseling department. Our counseling department chairperson, Gail Kaiser, without fail, fostered a culture of working together in order to meet the social, emotional, and academic needs of all students. So that harkens right back to what Scott was saying about his dad, meeting the students' needs, and that's what, in the end, it's all about. Gail modeled a work ethic and esprit de corps that was second to none. To that end, I would like to invite all of you here today to our second Gail Kaiser Memorial 5K Walk Run to be held 1 week from today at 3 o'clock, so exactly 1 week from today. It will be here at Topeka West. At the conclusion of this year's, what we're fondly referring to as the GK 5K, the Gail Kaiser 5K, our plan is to invest the approximately $10,000 generated with our relatively new Westside Pride Foundation that Margaret spoke about at the beginning of our event today. Our goal is to help endow a perpetual fund that will benefit the needs of Topeka West students. So through events like the GK 5K, the team continues to roll. If you're interested in getting more information on that, it's out in the lobby of the auditorium as well. Another definition of team is a group of people acting together to bring suit. And that has been my world of work experience virtually every day for 38 years here at school. While flying solo may work for some people in some occupations, I owe any success I may have enjoyed to a multitude of coworkers and students, my friends, and my family, and to the concept, the overarching concept of team. To conclude, I would like to say that my feelings for Topeka West run deep, and so do my family roots. Both my nuclear and extended family have been a part of the Topeka West family since the doors opened. In 1961, my dad was hired by Principal Owen Hinson as part of that first group of teachers. He was hired to teach government and to serve as head boys basketball coach. So I became a gym rat. I spent my childhood cheering on the Chargers beginning at age 8. My 4 cousins, one of which is here today, graduated here in the early 70s. Then I followed on their heels when Rome Mitchell hired me in 1976. My daughter Kaisa is a proud 2002 alum of Topeka West High School. Receiving this award is particularly special because it bears the name of a highly respected and esteemed educator, first principal of Topeka West High School, and good friend to my dad and to my family, Owen Hinson. I am honored to be chosen as a recipient of the Owen M. Hinson Distinguished Staff Award, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you, Susan, and thanks for your many years of dedicated service to Topeka West. Next, I'll ask Earl Williams to come forward. Thursday evening, I came over to the Sports Hall of Fame reception to talk to some folks about details for today's event. On the way from the cafeteria down the ramp to the auditorium, I heard somebody hollering out, "E! And Earl turned around and the guy said, "I want to get a picture with you." And it was one of his former athletes. And to me, when you're teaching school, you're evaluated by your superiors, and that's important at the time, but the most important evaluation is as you go on down the road. It's what kids that grow up say and think about you. And it's obvious that Earl left a heck of a impact and a legacy with Topeka West. It's one of his former athletes demonstrating his continued respect, admiration, and esteem that virtually all former Chargers have for him, even after many years of retirement. So, Earl Williams, 1968 to 2002, Social Studies and Athletics. Affectionately known as the Big E, Earl was a highly respected teacher and coach at West for over 3 decades. After beginning his career with 4 years teaching in Troy, Kansas, he was a fixture in the B building where he taught social studies classes. Earl worked hard to present a quality academic program in his classroom. He also impacted many Chargers as the perennial assistant coach in cross country and track. Over the years, those programs have been among the most successful at Topeka West, with dozens of athletes receiving local and state recognition. Like many of the athletes he mentored, Earl is a member of the Topeka West Sports Hall of Fame. Earl Williams.
I am standing. First, I want to congratulate the distinguished graduates that have been selected. Their accomplishments are impressive. Once upon a time, I jogged with Tom Averill, a master storyteller. John Dicus, a wonderful philanthropy for Topeka schools. It's really gorgeous what has happened out on 6th Street, I believe it is. And I believe as a sophomore you played basketball for Jerry Bryant. And I was a assistant coach. Jerry is gone, as we know. We miss him, sadly, lost a few days ago. Obviously, I know Susan's teaching ability to be excellent, and her West Siders set the standard for drill teams, period. I think the only thing that I had a problem with was she just couldn't get it all in that halftime period. And I ran the clock. I am humbled by my selection. I thank the committee, Steve Roberts. I usually ask former students I meet if they have been able to forgive me yet. Some have and some haven't. After my first year in an annex, I was assigned to B206, where I finished my 33 years there, ending in the presence of a number of people as I came to that place. They called themselves the Fruit Club, and the head fruit was a fellow named Charlie Conklin. He was marvelous. And one of the rules was, you don't talk about kids in this place. And for the most part, that was the case. Now those fruits, some of them are in this group, this honored group, like Fig Fowler, Margaret Fowler, and a lady named Current Curtis, Banana Bacalar, Francis Raisin Braun, and Schrog's in it too, but I can't remember his fruit. I can't. Watermelon. I must thank many people. If you don't, you really mess up, and the people you really must honor are secretaries, custodians, and people who deal with children at lunch. In fact, when I first came here, one of the big fun things to do was to watch the sophomores try to get food at the place that they got food, cafeteria, because they didn't know how to go through that crazy line. There was no line. You just had to barge in there and make your way. But it was fun to watch. And I must thank also those custodians. We played ping pong with them, along with administrative people and other teachers. And I did serve with Joe Schrog for, as you know, many years. A man of great patience. He endured me for so long. I never lost an argument to him at all, never. He won them all. Here today with me are my family up here that direction. But before I mention them, I mention Gene Johnson, who's come over from Kansas City, who was here as an assistant coach as well. And Joe, of course, we together, along with a friend, farmer and teacher from Troy, make up the FOOF, which are a group of guys that get together to play some really serious games. We'll be at that business next week. We finish our competition. It's called the FOOF Olympics. Not Olympics, Olympics. And we finish it with a game of sorry. And, as painters, every summer, that was one of the things we did. Gene finally got to graduate from that and became, I believe, a superintendent of schools in Shawnee Mission or something like that. But I will say that this place was very important to me. I found Dr. Henson, I'm going on more than I was supposed to. Dr. Henson was scary. The first time I got here, I tell you what, he fired a guy. He brought everybody in here and said, one of our people went out skiing when he should have been here teaching. He's no longer with us. That was very important to me. I remember that well. I perplexed a number of principals, associates, and assistants, but I thank them very much. They were very important to me. And I thank my parents, Horace and Edna, and an aunt that I had that gave me a set of 1950 World Book encyclopedias. I still have them. For a 9-year-old, that was really important. I thank the people who gave me and brought to me my faith in Jesus. And I thank my wife Sharon, who is sitting up there, 50 years and 4 months. She is the reason I survived teaching. She is loving, she is feisty, and she is forgiving. Not in that order, or maybe in that. We have 3 children. Beth and her family are here with her husband, Micah. I have a daughter that lives, Joyce, and her husband in North Carolina. They're 3 children. And I have a son and his wife and 4 children who live in Cootingal, Australia. We get to see them occasionally. I thank you all for adding me to this particular wonderful group. Just about anything. And I will tell you that if you happen to come over to Blue Springs, where I live now, you might find me at Thomas Altigan School tomorrow morning at 8:45, talking to 4 fourth grade classes. I tell them 5-minute stories. I love it. And I also love to be a guide through the Harry S. Truman National Historic Center on Wednesday afternoon, the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4:30. Thank you so much for coming.
I believe that there are no great schools that have not been blessed with great people working in them, and Topeka West has been so blessed since before the first day of school, 1961. Let's give today's recipients and their families one more round of applause. This year's committee selected 4 new candidates for the Topeka West Graduate Hall of Fame. 3 from the 60s and 1 from the 70s. All have distinguished themselves in their chosen fields. The first we will recognize is our first posthumous recipient in the brief history of our Hall of Fame. Rick Taylor, class of '64, researched and nominated his classmate, Mr. James Smoot. And since no family members were available to come today, he has agreed to accept Mr. Smoot's plaque. Rick? James Smoot, class of 1964. After graduating from West as valedictorian, Jim earned a bachelor's degree from the University of Southern California, graduated with honors. He then attended U.S. Army Officers Candidate School before serving our country in Vietnam in 1969-70. He was an officer in the 173rd Airborne Brigade. After service, he attended Yale Law School, where he was the executive editor of the Yale Law Journal. He was admitted to the bar of several states, as well as the United States Supreme Court and various other federal appeals courts. Jim was named full professor at the Cecil C. Humphreys School of Law, University of Memphis, and was dean of the law school from 2004 through 2008. He was dean emeritus of the University of Memphis Law School when he passed away in July 2011. We are proud to induct him posthumously into the Topeka West Graduate Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Steve. I just might add a few little things about Jim that were relayed to me by many people that worked with him or neighbors down in Memphis. Jim and his family moved to Topeka in 1959, and he did attend Capper for 9th grade, and then came along with the rest of us, up to 64, to start Topeka West, brand new